Hello, very good afternoon, and welcome to this live feed and question and answer session with me, Simply Stocks. And today I'm going to discuss about a lot of things, a lot of opportunities in the market, and how the market has done over the last week, and what lies ahead for the market. तो आज मैं आप सबका यहाँ पे स्वागत करता हूँ. वेलकम टू ऑल ऑफ यू, and I hope now the lighting is much better than what it was from the last few times. uh, I hope you are able to hear me clearly. Let me know, because I've changed the way I used to set the setup altogether. So I hope the voice is clear and you're able to see me clearly as well. So as promised, I'm live on feed at around 4:30 p.m. India time, and I wanted to discuss with you a lot of points. There has been a lot of comments that have come through from viewers with regards to stocks, with regard to the market and what has been happening. And I believe that many of you are not able to understand that these are unprecedented times. So I want to just take you through what the market has done, what is my point of view, and many people on YouTube and the comments that I have received are saying that I have talked about very vehemently about market making a bottom at around 10,500, and now the market has touched 7,500 and gone up, and uh, that bottom was breached. So I am just taking the people here on a ride, कि मैं यहाँ पे लोगों को सही नहीं बता रहा हूँ, या ये चीज़ें सही नहीं हो रही हैं, या मैं यहाँ लोगों को गलत रास्ते पे ले जा रहा हूँ. So I'll discuss about that as well. What is my mindset and why I discussed about the fact that the market could bottom out around 10,000, 10,500. What went against us in understanding about the charts and the market. And there has been issues with the fact that whatever calls I have been making, that they have not done well, and I agree to the fact that many of the calls have not done well. So I'll discuss about those factors as well in this live feed. उसके अलावा मैं आपके क्वेश्चंस का आंसर भी दूंगा, and I'm going to answer all your queries and questions, and I'll try to answer as many questions as possible. So let's begin with discussing about the markets first of all, and as to what lies ahead and what do I think about it, do I think about the levels. And before I do that, I want to just remind you that the super chat feature is on and the sticker feature is on. So kindly use that in order to ask questions. That will help me grow the channel, and it will help you get the answer in more detail from me. I would also like to tell you that I have started with the Patreon channel, and I want to thank all the patrons who have become members here on the Patreon network, and I would like you all to join there as well. From time to time I'll post the link to the Patreon channel, and go there and look at the different kind of articles I have put there. And you can choose any tier between $2 to about $25, and whichever is comfortable with you. And just $2 a month contribution from you would go a long way in keeping this channel going. And you'll definitely get a lot more articles and videos on Patreon which are exclusive to there for the Patreon members, with regard to stocks, stock calls, market calls, and what I think about the markets, and if I take any trade, etc. You'll definitely get to view that as well. So these are my opinions. uh, Now I begin with whatever has happened in the market and all. So just to tell you frankly that things have gone on pretty well for the market, and things have been in difficult terrain for us as investors. तो पहले मैं आपसे बात करना चाहूंगा मार्केट्स के बारे में, and then I'll answer all your queries. So just about the stock market for the time being. So what happened was we made a bottom, which I believe is a temporary bottom at 7,500, and we have gone up 22% from there. Or अब लोग ये समझ रहे हैं कि वो एक बॉटम बन चुका है 7500 पे। लोगों को ऐसा लग रहा है कि अब 7500 फिर से शायद देखने को ना मिले, एंड वी हैव मिस्ड द बस, मेनी ऑफ द पीपल आर सेइंग दिस। uh, उसके अलावा मैं ये बताना चाहूंगा कि why I said that 10,500 would be a bottom, and you people need to recognize the fact that at that point of time coronavirus was not that of an issue for India. That was a huge issue for China and for a little bit for some of the European countries. And we thought that we'll get by it safely, and there won't be much trigger about it. But then later on, from mid February, late February, things started to go wrong. तो उस चीज को फैक्टर इन नहीं किया था मैंने, और इसी वजह से 10,500 का बॉटम बना रहा था। इफ यू factor that in, I believe that the market could be headed below 7,000 and closer to 6,000, 6,500, with whatever that has taken place with regard to the markets, with regard to whatever is happening in the Indian economy. It does not look good that the market would be doing so well as it has been doing for the time being. At around 8,800, 8,900, I don't think the market deserves to be at this level. And I think there would be quite a sell off after the next week, or the numbers that come out in the next week. I sincerely hope that the numbers do not escalate. I sincerely hope that the numbers do not go on increasing in a substantial manner as it has done in say Italy, in United States, etc. But if things go awry in the next 1 week or so, we could see the market plunge even further, and I don't think we'll go then according to the US markets. So if you take that into consideration, yes, I believe that the bottom is not made yet, and I think that there is another round of selling that could come by in the next 1 month. Another point I want to make is that I keep saying that you need to buy lower. So I also said that at 12,000, 12,400, that the market is extremely expensive at 28 times, 27, 28 times earnings. And at that point of time, not many people believed in that, but eventually the market fell. And so it was inevitable. At 28 times Nifty earnings, it was very difficult for the market to go up beyond 12,400. So eventually we fell, and then we had the reason of this coronavirus outbreak globally, etc. Even now that we are at 8,800, it seems like that the round of, you can say, short covering rally is probably over. What we have seen in the Dow Jones is that it has closed around 4% lower on Friday. So it seems like we will be opening lower on Monday at around 8,500. And the strategy that I'll follow now, as I was discussing about IRCTC, that you need to buy into IRCTC with such kind of levels at 800, 900 levels. It The good strategy would be to buy on deep decline days. So at 8,400, 8,500, the Nifty levels. It is quite fine to buy into IRCTC if it is around close to 810 or 820 levels. Around 820, 830, it's a good level to get into IRCTC. And then in a staggered manner, I'm going to buy in 7 to 9 tranches into IRCTC. I've written a detailed article on Patreon, so you can go ahead and have a look at that as well. I'm going to share the link of my Patreon website here, and you can join there for as low as $2 a month, and you'll get exclusive articles, as I mentioned. So I've written about IRCTC and the buying strategy. I've written about what I'm going to do in the market. uh, Now that the market is going to, it looks like it will fall in the next 1 week or so. So better to then buy any of your share, whether it is IRCTC, HDFC, AMC, any large caps as TCS, Infosys, or banks, etc. Do it in a staggered manner. My analysis is that this market will not collapse to 5,000 or something like that, but will slowly dwindle down to 60, 6,500, 7,000 levels. in the days to come, and then there will be a sharp bounce back. But it is going to take something like 3 to 4 months for this market to digest everything, because we are going to face a lot of trouble with the economy. कमिंग टू द इकोनॉमिक पार्ट ऑफ इट, या इकोनॉमी के बारे में अगर मैं बात करूं, तो फिर देर इज गोइंग टू बी अ हैवी टोल और हैवी प्राइस दैट पीपल आर गोइंग टू पे because of the lockdown. And I have a feeling that the lockdown could continue till end of April. And if that happens, then there could be a lot of trouble for a lot of sectors, and especially the small and medium enterprises, the SMEs, etc. उस वजह से मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि अपॉर्चुनिटीज बहुत सारी होंगी. देयर विल बी अ लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी टू गेट इनटू द मार्केट. देयर विल बी अ लॉट ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी टू बाय योर फेवरेट स्टॉक्स. We just need to be patient. We just need to be having the gumption to wait it out when the market goes up, because there will be sharp short rallies in this bear market. लेकिन जब भी market नीचे जाए, we should have an eagle eye and get into those stocks that we have already talked about, or you have already selected. You personally would have selected some of the stocks, so you could get into those stocks immediately on mega fall. So what could be that strategy? So you buy at 8500, you buy at 8100, you keep on buying 7700, every 400 point decline, get into the market and get into it big. So you buy 10%, then 10%, then again 30%, then 40% of your portfolio, get invested 80% by the time the market goes to 7000. We don't know the bottom. It could be 6000, it could be 5000, but I'm quite certain that the bottom is not 7,500 as it was made earlier, or at least we will go just below that in the next 1 month or so. So let's see if that happens or not. I'm not God that I can predict anything, but it looks like that the market sentiment is downwards, and it looks like that the market would go even further lower as the time go by. So this is my assessment. You can always put up your comments as to what are your assessments about the market. My strategy is to buy at and I'm looking at only IRCTC to buy big, and I've given the reasons on many occasions why would I buy it, because these opportunities will not come. Railways will not stop unless something of this sort again happens, something like a war, God forbidden, or another virus or something. So next 3 4 months are good opportunities to get into IRCTC at lower levels. So anywhere between 800 to 500, between those levels will be very good opportunities to get into such a stock as a monopoly, get into something like an Asian Paints, getting into a Pidilite on heavy declines, a Bata on heavy declines. And IRCTC falls under those that kind of quality or pedigree. So that's why I'm looking at that very keenly, because that can be a real multi-bagger in quick time. See, if things again go back to plan, even if that happens 6 8 months down the line, then you take out FY21. That might not be good for the company, but 22 and 23 will be very big, and we could have an EPS of 60 64 rupees by end of 22 or halfway through FY23. So probably in 2 to 3 years time, the stock could be trading at 4000 plus levels if you take a PE of 60 65 levels, which it should govern at, because of the factor of being premium, because of the factor of being the only stock of its kind. I'm talking about IRCTC, and because of the fact that it is a market leader and a monopoly. So all these things taken into consideration, below 1000, it is a steal. That is what I understand. Although take your own decision and consult your financial advisor. And I just missed out on that day, because I thought that it should go on a couple of more lower circuits towards 700, but then it made a couple of upper circuits, and probably it will open at 940 950 but go lower. So a range between 800 to 600 550 would be best to buy this stock at, and just sit on it for the next 2 3 years to make handsome profits. That's my understanding about IRCTC. So that is my opinion about the market. The market seems like with a stop loss of 9200 could go to anywhere close to 8000 to even 7000 in the coming 1 month, 1.5 month. And we could hover around these levels between 8500 on the higher side to 6500, 7000 on the lower side for the next 3 4 months. That is my opinion. And now I'm ready to take in your queries. And thanks a lot, Nisha, for your 500 rupee contribution. Thanks a million. Uh, if you have a query, I'll just read it through. The future is going to be artificial intelligence, okay, robotics, genetics. So you've written about okay, the internet is slow here, so I'm just going through it. So the future is going to be artificial intelligence, robotics, genetics, solar technology. Which Indian stocks can one buy in this space? All right, nice question. uh, yes, the future is going to be that. Just an opinion on these industry, but it has been the fact that, for instance, solar or renewable energy in 2003 to 7, when the bull run happened, everybody talked about the future being into renewable energy, and people were gung ho about Suzlon and other stocks in that space. And Suzlon went up from around 3 rupees to 340 or something like that, 100 120x. But then we knew what happened. But I am agreeing to the fact that yes, probably robotics and pharmaceutical medicines, etc., genetics would be big. Now, as far as I know, the stocks that you could look at in the field of robotics, etc., would be the big IT companies which have fallen. So Infosys, TCS fall into that bracket. Now, there's a company called Tech Mahindra, which is into ITES, but they are also going into making a lot of, you can say, IT frameworks for medical equipments, for medical, you can say, devices for hospitals, etc. So that could be big. And I believe you can look at something like Dr. Lal and other kind of, you can say, diagnostic companies rather than going into genetic companies, because there is no, as far as I know, any stock that is more or less directly related to genetics, etc. So look at these companies rather than anything else. And if you're going into robotics and so on and so forth, then you have to look beyond India and look at the US, with a kind of listed space there. And I don't want to name companies there, but there are few which are related to Google, which are tying up with Google and doing very well. So you could look at those companies as well. As far as solar energy is concerned, I'm going to make a detailed video about it. It doesn't come to my mind as to which are the renewable companies that could do well, but I'm going to put it up in the comment box later on for you to go through as to what are the renewable companies that you should be looking at. So these are the things. And I believe that the future, that would be 10 15 years down the line, but over the next 6 7 years, the best stocks to buy are the leaders in their space. So if you want to buy 4 or 5 companies, those would be something like a Bata, a Whirlpool, for instance, a Nestle, an Aisher, etc. These are big companies coming at discounts, and they'll do well over the next 6 to 8 years. uh, Prashant Khanna, thanks a lot for your 100 rupee contribution through Super Chat. I got one lot in SBI cards during IPO. I am keeping it and I'll buy some more shares soon. I think it's going to be 4x in 2 to 3 years. So your views, okay? SBI cards, yes, for sure. And I think it will go to around 580, 590 if the market falls. Anything below 600 and any level below 600, keep on adding SBI cards to between 600 to 500 levels, and just hold on to it. I think not 3 4 years, just hold on to it for a period of 7 to 8 years, and you'll see the magic. I have no doubt that the stock would be an 8 to 10 bagger in the next decade or so. It could be even better. It would be a 5 lakh crore company going forward. It is the second largest card company in India after HDFC, and it has a lot of business and it is gaining market share. And I believe these situations, whichever happens, something like this virus issue or other things, cards will be in fashion and these cards will be used even more. So more people would go the digitized way later on, the digitization way. and I believe they'll garner more customers going forward. So in that manner, in my opinion, it's a very good stock to buy, and probably add on to it at levels between 550 to 600. All right. And thanks a lot for your contribution. Kindly go through my Patreon link as well. And probably you'll like the articles there as well. Okay, Sonika, hi. Very good afternoon to you. I hope you're keeping safe. You're welcome, Nisha. Okay, so more questions coming in, and they are just flashing by, so I want to just go through them. Rocky, yes, I have Tata Motors DVR, 1,000 shares at 60 rupees. Should I average it? Okay. If you take my opinion, very honest opinion, exit Tata Motors. And the reason is not that whether they'll do well, not do well, or what will happen. Probably exit immediately, and the reason is because the company itself do not know what kind of a business they are into, and what different kind of businesses revenues would come in. And why I'm saying that is that Tata Motor itself has told that they are going to publish their sales numbers quarterly rather than monthly. And what does that mean? That they are not sure that monthly numbers would be good. It could be very erratic, and these numbers could be extremely difficult to forecast. So they are going to do it on a quarterly basis because they look much better compared to a monthly numbers. So the business is not doing well. Rather than taking the pain of Tata Motors not doing well and so on, although you have bought it at a lower level and it might do well. So if you get some profit, say it goes to 80, 90 for some reason, and you just hold on at the moment, and whenever it goes to 80, 90, just sell it and get into, if you want to get into say a CV space and into such kind of stocks, then Aisha Motors is your hope. And I like Ashok Leyland around 30. So if Ashok Leyland comes back to 30, 25 levels, these are good levels to buy. But again, Ashok Leyland is not a very long term play. Once it gives you a 60, 70% profit, get out of it. If you want long term stock ideas, then I'll just continue with all the consumption names. And you people all must be knowing it if you're following my channel. It would be Bata, it would be PNG Healthcare, it would be something like a Nestle, something like a Dabur. Or if you go down the chain, then there are a number of companies like Whirlpool, Blue Star, V-Guard, Vinity Organics, something like Varun Beverages, and so on and so forth. Okay, Pradeep, my view on Black Rose is that it is a very good company, and I put up a video on chemicals that you must be having a look. So just to talk about the chemicals for a few minutes, the chemical sector, the basic chemical companies are very good. So companies like these Gujarat-based chemical companies, they are good. So Gujarat, this nitrite and other Deepak nitrite, etc. They are good companies. So Darshan Chemicals is really good to get into, Naveen Fluorine, and so on and so forth. Apart from that, companies like Galaxy Surfactants would continue to do well, although their cost of sourcing products would slightly increase, but they'll do well. Palm oil prices has decreased, so many of other chemical companies, which I just pointed out in the presentation that you can go through, they'll do well. But in this Black Rose thing, why I am not trying to push that through, and then you'll say that okay, why you're not telling us about the small caps. It is kind of a dubious thing to do because we don't know much about the company's management as a whole, etc. Whereas you're getting many of the large chemical companies like, or decent chemical companies like Sudarshan Chemicals, Deepak Nitrite, etc., at very reasonable levels. Something like a Galaxy Surfactant, something like an SRF, which is good. So kindly look at those companies rather than looking at lower down the tier. That's why I'm keep saying about Bata rather than Relaxo. I keep saying about Asian Paints rather than Berger Paints, and I keep saying about Dixon rather than Amber, and likewise in all the industry. And I'm looking at IRCTC rather than Ircon, etc., or Titagarh Wagon, and so on and so forth. Just look at the leaders. These are very good times to buy these leaders, because later on you'll not get these prices. You'll have these stocks at least 100% expensive 2 years down the line. So you'll not have an HDFC Bank at 1000 rupees. It will be at 2000 rupees 2.5 years down the line. Once again, I want to remind you that the super chat feature is on. So kindly avail that feature of asking questions through the super chat, and I'll be able to answer that question in a more detailed manner, as I have done with a couple of my viewers. And I have in mind to write about the renewable energy and robotics companies, and I'll definitely go through the different companies that are listed. And if I find something, I'll definitely put it in the, you can say, the chat box here, or in my later videos. Okay, so here is Peanut and Naughty. And now this is interesting. Hi sir, what do you think about Bharat Seeds for minimum 5 7 years? It is a good company. SpiceJet is an avoid. Rather than getting into SpiceJet again, look at the leader. Leader is Interglobe Aviation. So everything is falling by the leader, by Interglobe Aviation if you want to. Although I don't like, you can say, these companies which are into aviation. Bharat Seats is a very good company. I don't know the price it is quoting at the moment, but go ahead and buy into Bharat Seats and have a 7 8 year view, but don't hold it for 7 years. If auto sector really revives in the next couple of years, then probably in 3 years you'll get very good prices, and at that point of time exit such a stock. If you make something like 5 6x, I think you can easily make 5 6x if you hold for 6 7 years, but keep a 30% stop loss while buying Bharat Seeds. uh, Naresh Rao, thanks a lot for your 100 rupee contribution through Super Chat. Will Tata Chemicals still see growth without consumer business? How about SRF in comparison? Probably look at Tata Consumer. Tata Chemicals will do well. So it is not that it will not do well when it has, you can say, diversified its business or taken the business out of Tata Consumer. But buying Tata Consumer is a prudent thing to do around 240 250 levels. If you're holding Tata Chemicals, hold on to it, because they have a separate set of, you can say, revenue stream coming through a lot of products. So they'll do well. And Tata Chemicals also falls into those category of simple chemicals that will do well because of the problems that has taken place in China. So individually speaking, Tata Chemicals should do well. But if you really want to shift or you have not bought into it, then look at Tata Consumer rather than SRF. SRF on a different level would be nice, but I think Tata Chemicals in that regard is fine if you're holding on to. I hope that answers your question. Prashant Khanna, thanks a lot for your 100 rupee contribution. Chemical sector is too confusing. I have rather invested in GMM Fodler. If chemical sector does well, then I think GMM will do well automatically. Nice one there, Prashant. The issue only is, and I know where you're coming from. Yes, JMM Fowler will continuously do well, and they also provide these glass products to the pharmaceutical industry, and pharma is set to do well. Although I don't think pharma will be the leader in the next bull run, but pharma should do well for about 6 months to a year, and GMM Fodler would continue to do well as well. So I agree with you, but partially, not completely. Uh, I think both chemical and GMM Fodler per se should not be just looked at. I still feel that India is a consumption driven economy, and it's consumption that will drive again. So whether it is large cap or small cap, any company that has been doing well before this. So look at the numbers of December 2019, or the third quarter of 2020, FY 2020, and find out those larger mid caps or small caps which have done well on the consumption front. They'll continue to do well. So there are some consumption companies in the chemical sector. There are some consumption companies in the discretionary segment. They are into FMCG, etc. They are doing well, or in ancillary space, so electrical ancillary, etc. So look at that. But GMM Fodler, in an individual manner, probably in the next 2 3 years would be even bigger. So yes, it's a good stock to look at. Okay, Vishal Prabhu, what do you think about rain industries? Now, rain industry is fine if you have bought at lower levels, then hold on to it. If you have bought it at a very higher level, then exit it on a run up rather than buying it right now. So I think it is an avoid for those who have not bought, and it is a sell on rally kind of a stock. And I made videos on rain industry, so go ahead and watch that, and probably that will explain in detail as to why I'm saying that. Dixon shows negative cash flow last year. Suddenly, why? Dixon has showed negative cash flow because of the fact that they have gone on to shift their manufacturing base from Dehradun in Uttarakhand to, I think, somewhere in West Bengal or somewhere in south. I think in somewhere in south where the port is nearer, so they have proximity to port, etc. Although their business in Dehradun is continuing, but only for lighting, but for major production in other electronic goods, they have shifted to some other place, which I cannot remind at this point of time, and that is why the cash flow got affected a little bit. This time around, the numbers could be difficult because of the China factor, because they source a lot of products from China. But I believe in the next 4 years, Dixon would be very big. So if you're holding on to it at higher prices, hold on to it. And if you want to buy, these are very good levels to get into Dixon. Sir, in this situation, which stock is more having more business, FL or Tanla? I hold both. That's the first disclaimer. So that's the first thing I want to tell you, Guru. And the second point is I like both of them, especially FL India around 600 to 800 levels would be very good and very interesting. The problem that happened with FL India is their major business is from abroad, and especially Spain, and what the kind of problems that are happening in Spain and the cases that are coming out of it. The total revenue from Spain is gone for at least the next 2 quarters, and that is why there's absolutely carnage in that stock, and the stock has fallen from 2300 all the way to 900. If you have not got into FL, get into FL in a staggered manner from these levels all the way down to 4 500. Tanla itself is a pretty good. Tanla is good in the sense that Tanla Solutions would do well from FY22 onwards. All their depreciation is gone, and I believe at around 45 50 level, these are very good levels to get into. Any dip towards 40, go ahead and buy. The promoters itself have bought at 70, at 60, at 50, at 30 levels. They bought a lot of shares, and Gamoga, which has partnered with Tanla, is into a lot of space of advertising into this artificial intelligence, etc. And that person who has asked me about artificial intelligence, so you can look at Tanla also. They are getting into that Internet of Things and artificial intelligence, and they are a small cap company. So you can look at that company as well as look at the revenues that Gamoga is producing. So I'm very positive about Tanla, and I have no doubt that it will be a 200 rupees stock in the next 2 to 3 years for sure. Uh, Thanks a lot, Peanut, for your 20 rupee contribution. Okay, Aditya Birla Capital, AB Capital, at very less should I purchase? No, avoid AB Capital, avoid anything related to finance. That's my opinion. There would be a lot of skeletons that would come out later on. So, in that sense, you need to avoid these companies and look at companies which are into pure consumption, which are debt free. Vijay has asked is okay, namaste. What about Godrej Consumer Products? Good company, decent company. You are set to gain around 20-22% yearly in Godrej Consumer. Go ahead and buy on any declines. Very positive about it. Is ITI a multi-bagger? No, ITI is a complete avoid. Okay, I understand promoters' integrity is questionable in the past and Hyderabad. Is there any chance in promoters? Which stock you are talking about, Lance? And there are a lot of questions coming in, so I'm sorry if I'm missing many. Okay, IGL. Now, IGL, I'll make a video in a week or 10 days time, and I'm positive about IGL at these prices. Go ahead and buy into it in staggered manner. Good 20-22% year on year growth is possible. So yes, IGL is good at around 300, 340, something like that. So any 10% dip from here, good levels to buy into IGL. Oh, now Rajesh, I'm sorry, but you bought ONGC. I don't know what price you bought it, but you need to avoid a stock like ONGC with the crude at these levels. And I do not see crude going below or above 50, $60 anytime soon. So if you're not in heavy losses, then kindly exit ONGC and probably hold on to IOC. Divi's Lab is a buy. So okay, Tanla's promoters. So yeah, so see now the point is yes, the promoters made a mistake in 2008-9. So I've gone through what has happened with Tanla. So during that phase of 2004 to 2008, Tanla Solutions promoters had done what it is called is high leverage. How did they leverage? The point was that Tanla Solutions went on to uh, say have a client in Nokia, and Nokia ended up burst by 2011, 12, and so on and so forth. So Tanla got hurt quite badly. So their 85-90% revenue used to come from Nokia, but they have changed the focus altogether. The promoters has completely changed the way they used to run the business, and that's why the stock has gone up from around 2 3 rupees all the way to 87 88 rupees. And currently they are having a lot of clients including Airtel, Vodafone, and Gamoga, etc. They're doing business with that. They are into, you can say, messaging, peer-to-peer messaging. They are into those messages that come in from your Amazon, etc. When you buy products, so they ask for OTP. Those OTP messages go through Tanla, and so on and so forth. And that's why I like the company as a whole. FL has the same problem. So FL has two or three companies from where the major business comes from. So Amazon, etc. And they do advertising for them. And with the kind of shutdown that has been happening with Amazon and Flipkart and so on and so forth, they are not able to have the kind of revenue that they are having. Once all this subside, FL will again continue to do well. Thanks a lot, Harveer, for your 40 rupee contribution. Gravitea India, Borosil, or KNR Construction. So you want to know which one to buy out of these two? I would say Borosil Glass because the promoters have bought into the stock, and in my regard, the stock has come down sharply. So apart from all if I have to choose from these three, I'll choose Borosil. I'll not choose Gravita because their business, the kind of business that they are into, they require chemicals, and these chemicals are sourced from China, and they are quite expensive at the moment, and sourcing is difficult. Gravita is struggling because of that. KNR construction, anything to do with real estate or construction infrastructure, just avoid, and that's why I've chosen Borosil. But I would suggest you to do your own research and also try to buy larger mid caps rather than looking at these small caps or micro cap companies. So, what about Sharda Cropchem in future? Heavy loss in this stock. Okay, now I like the company. That's the first thing, and they are into crop protection, etc. And it will do well only when the rural economy and the Indian economy do well. It will do well when the monsoons are good and everything is fine, and that is why you're having heavy losses. But a lot of stocks, I'm having a heavy loss in FL at the moment of around 50%. So the point is, at this point of time, I cannot tell you to sell. Probably look at the numbers when the market stabilize, so hold on to it for a year or so, and then see how the numbers pan out in the next 4 quarters, especially the quarter in which there is rain. So probably the June quarter and the September quarter numbers, look at those numbers and then decide over it. I want to again remind you all that the super chat feature is on, and you can go to my Patreon channel and also subscribe to my channel kindly, because once I'll have 30,000 subscriber, I can start with a join button here on YouTube itself rather than asking you to go through the Patreon channel or the Patreon network and so on and so forth. So here's the Patreon link that I have. And once I have 30,000 subscribers, I'll start with collaboration, etc. on YouTube as well. So kindly subscribe as well. And use the super chat feature to ask me questions. That will help me a great deal and help you eke out answers from me in a greater detail. Sir, what is your view on Whirlpool India? Very positive on Whirlpool India. Any declines towards 1700, 1600 levels or any sort of decline, go ahead and buy into it. These are marquee companies that will do well once the thing really get into place. But again, you have to understand that companies like Whirlpool and Dixon might not run very quickly because people will not go to buying washing machines or electronic goods when these curfews are lifted and so on and so forth. Probably it is going to take at least 3 to 6 months before all these things left. After the curfew is lifted, and then only you'll make money through it. Probably hold on to these companies for 3 4 years, you'll make a lot of money. Okay, so Arsenic is asking, 2 years ago I bought Jamna Auto at 54. What should I do? I would think if you have money, then average. Now, for those who are holding on to auto ancillary for the last 2 3 years, I would suggest don't sell now. That is my opinion. I think these are the lowest levels that the stock could go through, and we could have a strong rally in these auto ancillary stocks. So you could average at these levels and you can get out probably in profits later on. And I think after a year or so, probably by the start of FY22, so FY21, after FY21, autos will also, in my opinion, should do well. InfoEdge is a very good company to buy into. Any declines, get into it. Don't buy on sharp up moves, but wait for declines in the market, wait for sharp falls in the market, and get into InfoEdge. It is a very good stock to get into. Avoid Manali Petro. That's my opinion. Okay, Rockies are. Is it not very risky to invest this very small micro cap of just 50 crore cap I can buy and hold for 10 years? I don't get your question. I'm sorry. And there are many questions coming up, and that's why I'm saying that use the super chat feature. That would be more helpful for me to answer also in detail. So there are a lot going through. SBI cards is a buy. No issue with that. You're welcome, Khalid. Difference between Tata Motors and Tata Motors DVR, both avoid. Don't look for differences. The only difference is that in the DVR you don't get voting rights or shareholders rights in that detail as in Tata Motors. Do not buy any of it. Okay, now Shelja has asked about PVR. Now my opinion on PVR, Inox and Jubilant is that these are good levels to get into, but you would have to wait at least a year, and you would have to, if you're ready to take in pain of 20 30% downside from these levels, go ahead and buy. Probably do a staggered manner buying of 10% on each fall from these levels, and wait for 4 years. Have a 4 year time frame and you'll get very good profits out of these companies. But I think in the next year and a half, these companies would face a lot of pressure. All right. Kilpest India, sir, is it fine to buy this stock and hold for 10 years for high gain? I am positive about Kilpest and I'm holding on to Kilpest. I'm having a loss in Kilpest of around 30 35%. I'm very positive about it, the kind of dividend that it is, the kind of business 3B Black Bio has. I think it is good to buy into Kilpest India at this point, but again, it is a risky trade. It's just a 50 crore market cap company. So do your own research and get into it. But yes, I'm holding Kilpest. That's a disclaimer from my side. Okay, Rupinder has asked, Sir, Aisha Motors for long term. Yes, Aisha around 15, anything less than 15,000, which it's quoting at, it's a very good stock to buy. It can easily be a 2 to 3x in the next 3 4 years. So go ahead and get into Aisha Motors. IRCTC, I would be buying next week on declines. IRCTC, I believe you will not get an opportunity to buy it at below 1,000 later on. These are very good opportunities for such marquee leadership, monopolistic businesses like IRCTC to get into such businesses. Yes. I want to again remind you that the super chat feature is on. Kindly use that, and that will help me answer your question in more detail. Help me take that question in a detailed manner, because a lot of questions come through and go by in a quick manner, but that super chat remains for a longer period of time, and I'll be able to answer that, and it will help you also rake out answer in more detailed manner on my behalf. ABB is an avoid. Anything related to capital goods, infrastructure, engineering is an avoid at the moment. Sterlite Technology entered at very high prices. What should I do? Exit and invest in other companies. I think if you are making more than 35 40% loss in Sterlite, then exit and get into IRCTC and just hold on to it. Bharti Airtel is good. It's a very good stock, and I think telecom should do well. Bharti Airtel and Reliance would run because of that, and especially Bharti because it's an exclusive telecom business. So yes, you can buy onto it, except expect 40 50% gain in the next 2 3 years in Bharti Airtel. DLF is a complete avoid. Nippon AMC, rather than Nippon AMC, go ahead and buy HDFC AMC. That would be my opinion. That's my opinion on Nippon AMC. All right. Kindly subscribe to my channel, and I have if I have around 30,000 subscribers, I'll be able to start with the join button here as well. And I'm having right now over 10,000 subscribers. But I hope that you people subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you can get my video straight away when I post it. I need more subscriptions in the regard there to grow this field further, and join me in this in this regime of getting more knowledgeable or making people more knowledgeable about investments. Related internet related stocks, YouTube related stocks would be FL. FL has a lot of clients, internet related. That's why I bought into say FL. They produce you can say advertisements or mobile advertisements for Flipkart, for Amazon, for Google, for many companies, and the Microsoft is also invested into a company like FL. So that's one. Internet related would be InfoEdge. So that's another company that you can get into. So InfoEdge is another. To an extent, Jubilant Food ones, because online delivery is something that it does. But Zomato is part of InfoEdge, and InfoEdge is a very good company to invest into. All right. Network 18 is a complete avoid. Aurobindo Pharma is a good buy, but expect 15 18% CAGR growth in Aurobindo Pharma. That's my opinion. And I'm not very gung ho about the pharma sector as others are. I believe pharma have had its day, and I don't think pharma would be the next sector. In my opinion, the next sectors would be some specialty chemical companies, some you can say these electronic manufacturing companies which make contract manufacturing electronic companies like Dixon Ember. They'll do well. The monopolistic businesses would do well, so something like an IRCTC, etc. Some mid and small cap IT companies which are into different domains, which are into domains which are future oriented. So that's why I'm talking about FL and so on. They should do well in the future, and by future I mean next 7 to 10 years. That's what I'm looking at. I want to again remind you that the super chat feature is on. Kindly use super chat to ask questions that will help me grow the channel and also help you get the best answers from me. So kindly use super chat in that regard. Suggest some specialty chemical companies. Sudarshan Chemicals, you have Deepak Nitrite, you have Deepak Fertilizers and Chemicals. You have something like Kiri Industry, but I won't suggest buying straight away. Do your own research into it. You have Galaxy Surfactants, SRF. So these are good companies to get into. But there are others also. So do your complete research and then get into it. About India Mart, Intimesh, it is a very good company to get into, but I feel it is still expensive. So if it comes down a little bit, you can get into India Mart, Intimesh. Probably another 15% decline in the stock, which I expect that companies would fall when the market would fall. So yes, you can buy. DMart is expensive because I feel that although those stores are open, but only for a limited time, they will have a hit on revenues. And I think the stock still trades at 90, 100 times. If it trades around 70 times earnings, go ahead and get into it. So anything between 1400 to 1600 would be good levels to buy into DMart. Okay, Dubya Jyoti is asking about what is super chat. So the super chat feature is right there, Divya, where you're typing your question here. Right below it, there is a dollar sign, so you can use that feature. When you click on the dollar line, you'll have an dollar icon. You will have an option of doing a super chat or a super sticker and contributing to my channel through it, between 20 rupees all the way to 500 rupees, and in dollars as well, in your currency as well. So kindly avail that feature to ask questions, Divya. CDSL is a good company to buy and is a long-term play. So they do well when the stock market do well. They don't do well when the stock market doesn't do well. With the Carvi saga that has happened, people are shifting from CDSL to NSDL and this way and that way. And people are more now aware of having their Demat account, checking their Demat account and putting shares into Demat, which they were not doing, and shares were in other pool accounts and so on and so forth. So yes, go ahead and buy into CDSL for sure, Ashish. A good company. On any declines, buy and hold on to a stock like CDSL. Okay. Bajaj Finance, interesting. Now at 2500, I have a feeling, and I may be wrong here, but this is my hunch about Bajaj Finance, that it is headed towards below 2000. It could be headed towards 1800, and I would say it is an avoid. And I may be completely wrong here, but I think the best days of Bajaj Finance could be over. We could see a lot of you can say repercussions of whatever is happening, people losing jobs and so on and so forth, and might not be coming back into the picture. And so a lot of defaults may happen even in Bajaj Finance, even though they do retail, you can say, lending. So avoid Bajaj Finance for the time being until the numbers come in, although the levels are attractive between 2000 to 2200 levels. For 1 2 years, Bajaj Finance, can we accumulate Pfizer buying levels, please? Okay. Bajaj Finance, avoid Pfizer on any 10 15% decline is good. Whatever you have told about Nifty levels, I'm 100% agree with you. IRCTC and FL will be multi-baggers in future. Okay, thanks a lot for that, Niladri. I think Bajaj Finance is an avoid. Other stocks you can buy on declines. Thanks a lot, Stalin, for your 100 rupee contribution. If you have any query, just shoot it straight away. But thanks a lot for your contribution. Uh, for the next 2 3 years, I think something like IRCTC, FL on heavy declines, Bata, these are good companies to get into. Yes. What's your Nifty target in 2020? I think the low Nifty can make is closer to 6500 or so. 6820 was the low made on the budget day in 2016. मुझे लगता है उसके नीचे जाएगा. आई फील इट विल गो बिलो दैट, बट देन इट विल स्टेबलाइज. So around 65, 6600 would be the low it will make. I don't know what would be the high or the end year target. That I do not know, but this is my opinion. IGL is a buy, HDFC Life is a buy, ADF Foods is a buy at these levels, but do not expect a lot of profits in ADF Foods. If you have bought it at higher levels, average around these levels of 150, 160, whatever it is trading at, and probably later on exit in profit. That is my opinion. So that's about ADF Foods. Piramal Enterprises is good, but at this point of time, there are problems in the real estate infrastructure lending sector, and that's why I would say avoid. Buy into clean businesses which have come down, which are debt free. About India is a buy. On any declines, it is a buy. I think it can easily be double from here in the next 2 3 years easily. About. So during lockdown, Dish Network stocks will do good. Why do you think Dish Network would do well, Guru? Vedanta, you can buy but trade into it. I don't like the commodity sector at all. So, my opinion is always negative. But the prices that they have come to, probably on declines, you can buy. And whenever the economy slightly revive, China comes back full force and all, these companies should do well. You can make 60, 70, 80%, but then exit on rallies in such companies. HUL pass 50 DMA. HUL can make a new 52-week high in April. Yes, HUL can make, but I think HUL is expensive. It has not fallen a lot. So where is the profit of having such a big fall in the market? अगर आप HUL ही लेंगे 10-15% फॉल में, बहुत सी ऐसी कंपनीज हैं जो आपको 30-40% के फॉल में मिल रही हैं. You're getting it fall of 30-40%. So kindly look at those. But HUL itself is good, so easily 18-20% profit year on year you can make. And yes, it can make a new 52-week highs going forward. 3M India is a good stock, even without what has happened with mask and so on and so forth. I like 3M India as a whole. So go ahead and yes, on major declines, get into 3M India. थोड़ा भी डिक्लाइन आता है उसे बाय करें और होल्ड करें फॉर द नेक्स्ट 4 5 years. So maybe there'll be some profit booking later on when this virus go away, because 3M India might have sold a lot of masks. But then again, you buy more. So buy in a staggered manner, have some money, and keep on buying. Good company, 3M India. All right, Prashant, thanks a lot for your 100 rupee contribution. I'm not sure if I should get into auto. I'm looking at multi-baggers only. Can you name few which are a must-have? I can wait 7 8 years. So you can go through any of my multi-bagger videos, the Holi video, Diwali video, New Year videos. I have talked about many companies. One stock you must be having is IRCTC. Another stock you must be having is Bata. And I'm talking of companies which are completely debt free, which have good promoters and very good brands that have come down. So Bata and IRCTC are a must. Whirlpool or any on any 10-15% decline, get into it. It's a very good company. Info Edge on further decline. So another 10-15%, get into Info Edge. If you like to wait 7 8 years, these companies would do well. HDFC AMC, if it comes to something like 1400 1500, which it could if the market comes down even further, get into HDFC AMC. That would be good. iShare at 14,000 it looks good, but even further down, you can get into this. That's another company that you should be looking at. FL India on further declines to 500 600. It is a very good small cap company to have in your business. Voltas on any bigger declines, get into such a company. So there are many. So 6 7 companies I've just told you, and hold them for the next 7 8 years and keep on adding. And these are very good company. Unless something goes bad with the management pedigree, these companies should do well over the course of say the next 7 8 years. Sir, during lockdown, Dish Network, okay. RVS Rao, thank you very much, sir. Lot of macro economics. Yes, a lot of information to the investors. Thank you, BVS, and kindly go to my Patreon channel as well, and you like the articles there as well. Prashant Khanna, thanks a lot for your 40 rupee contribution. I have all these. I am talking about auto only. Okay, you have all these. You're talking about in autos. Get into Eicher and Maruti and do not fear. I think Maruti at 4600, 4400 is pretty good. So look for Maruti. And if you want to take a risky trade, then look at something like Ashok Leyland below 30, say 27, 28 for a trade in which the stock goes to 50, 60 and you get out of it. But for long terms, I would say Maruti and Motherson Sumi at around 50, 60 levels because these virus things will go away someday. So and then Motherson Sumi would spring back very quickly because the business was coming back from Europe and US. So Motherson Sumi, Eicher Motors, and Maruti. These are the three companies I would suggest to you. Ashok Leyland is a risky trade which you can avoid. But Motherson Sumi, Eicher Motors, and Maruti are the three auto stocks. One of them you can buy. Probably the safest would be Maruti at 4,000. Is very attractive and it could definitely go down to 3,000. So keep on buying in staggered manner. Yes. I'm new to stock market, watching your live stream to buy stocks in ITC, Infosys, HDFC. Yes, all good. I think apart from ITC, get into Bata. I'm very gung ho about Bata. The business is robust, the stock has fallen. That's the only thing. And it will again come back into feature once everything settles down. So Bata at these levels are very attractive. At lower levels, it would be even attractive. And I want to tell all of you that this is not the bottom. So the stocks would fall 20, 30, 40% more. So be ready for that and have money for that. But do not wait because we don't know. Maybe the stock may not fall. So keep on adding. Add at 8,500, add at 8,100, then at 7,700 Nifty, then at 7,400, 7,000 if it goes to, and have money to buy more at lower levels. Wish to choose between NAM India and HDFC AMC. HDFC AMC, no two other way out. At 2,000 rupee level, it is attractive. At any lower level, it would be even more attractive. So yes, HDFC AMC on my behalf. Okay. Okay, there are more questions that are coming up. So I wanted to end the stream here, but since there are a lot of questions that are coming up and people online, so I would like to extend this for the next 15, 20 minutes. Remind you that the super chat and super sticker feature is on. So kindly ask me questions through that and it will help me answer your questions in a more detailed manner. Thank you. And it will help me grow the channel as well. A very good company, NIIT Tech. Kaushik. So, in my opinion, yes, any declines again to 800 to 1000 levels and at current levels, buy into an IIT Tech and hold for the next 6, 7 years. Okay, Mahanagar Gas, I have at 950. Oh, yes. Buy more around 750, 800, and just hold on to it for the next 3, 4 years. You have a very good stock in Mahanagar Gas. I bought it at 580 and I would say foolishly, or in probably I wanted to just make some profit. I sold it at 800. I still remember I had the stock at 580 rupees, but I sold it at 800. And I feel it is a very good stock to buy again. Okay, views on Polycab. Very positive on Polycab. If you have not bought, buy it. If you have bought it at higher levels, average it at these levels. But again, stocks like Polycab will do well later on, not quite straight away when things get normalized. So keep adding on declines. That's my opinion. Avoid Heikel. If you have it, sell it. Otherwise, if you don't have it, don't get into Heikel. IGL, have already told I am positive. Go ahead and buy into it for a long period of time. Oh, that's my opinion. Both SBI Life and ICICI Lombard is good, and on declines you can buy, but buy one of them because you'll be having at least one player from the sector, and you can buy something else from other sectors as well. Coal India is an avoid. If you like dividend, then go ahead and buy into it. It gives very good dividend, but unless that, probably it will show a move up and then again settle down lower. So I don't want to tell you such companies which could end up being not quite good multi-baggers. So avoid Coal India. Yes, HDFC Bank, anything close to 900, very good levels to buy into. Yes, you can buy HDFC Bank. There's no issue with the bank. If I want to suggest any bank or financial companies, it would be HDFC Bank and to an extent Bajaj Finance. But I don't think Bajaj Finance would have the same gung ho move as it had earlier. NTPC is a hold, ONGC is a sell, but on up moves, if slight up moves come in ONGC because of some news, then sell at around 85, 90. Hold NTPC, it's a good company and will give you consistent returns over a period of time. State Bank, I would say an avoid because of the kind of, you can say, money that it is putting into Yes Bank. It is going to again fracture the balance sheet even further. And that's why I want you to avoid bank and financials altogether, apart from a few companies. Bajaj Finance, in my opinion, is these are good levels to buy. But my point is whether it will give you the same handsome returns as earlier. Maybe it will take time. So that's my opinion. And same with Bajaj Finserv. So the levels are good, but how far or how big it would go, that I'm circumspect about. Q4 will be big loss, and June 2020 will be big downgrades. So investors should be careful. Now, here is the point. We all know that. So whatever you're saying, Jayesh, it is probably known to everyone, and that is why the market has fallen so much. So whether the market has priced this in, क्या मार्केट ने ये प्राइस इन कर लिया है कि Q4 नंबर्स बुरे होंगे और Q1 नंबर्स भी बुरे हो सकते हैं, हो सकता है प्राइसिंग कर लिया हो काफी स्टॉक्स में, और जब नंबर्स बुरे आएंगे तो स्टॉक्स ऊपर जाएंगे, जब डाउनग्रेड्स आएंगे तो उसके बाद स्टॉक ऊपर जाने लगेंगे. एंड दैट इज व्हाई आई एम सेइंग that you need not wait for those times. Probably buy in the next 2 3 months in a staggered manner and just sit on these kind of stocks. Rain industry, complete avoid. I don't see it going up, but then any good up move and after that you exit. Avanti Feeds is interesting. Now, I think it has fallen a lot and probably it will do well. Not quite a multi bagger, but it will do well 25 30% yearly. So, yes, you can. If you have not bought it, don't buy it. But if you're having Avanti Feeds, then hold on. SIS is a good company, and I made a video on SIS. Go ahead and watch that so you can buy into it. But again, next 1 year could be good for SIS. Next year might not be that good. So keep that into consideration. It is not a 8 10 year play, but a good 1 1 2 year play. SIS. All right. So IDFC First Bank, my opinion is there are only 2 or 3 financial companies that I've said. Apart from that, avoid everything else. Yes, that's my opinion. Delta Corp is an avoid. They have shut down many of their, you can say, casinos, and I think casinos would be the last place to open after the shutdown. So it is not going to be total complete open for all the companies. I think only the necessary you can say sectors would open up, and Delta Corp would be the last one to open up their business. So it's going to suffer in the next couple of quarters. I don't want to comment on IndusInd Bank, whatever has gone on. I'm waiting for more clarity into the stock. It has fallen from 17, 1800, 2000 levels all the way to 300, 250, and then we had a move. If you have not bought, avoid something like an IndusInd Bank. Avoid Bharti Infratel, get into Bharti Airtel. Tire stocks, if you really want, it would be one. But yes, they will get benefit of whatever is happening with the oil prices, etc. But unless the auto sector doesn't do well, tire will not do well. And if whenever the auto will do well, then you'll have pure auto companies which are trading at very good valuations, auto ancillary, etc., which you can get into. So buy into Maruti rather than something like a Seat. Avoid Vodafone Idea completely. Bharti would be a better bet. Avoid India Bull Housing. Yes, both HDFC. I think HDFC Life is a better company than SBI Life. Avoid Vodafone, as I said. L&T is a complete avoid. Even with the move, I think capital goods sector or the infrastructure capital goods sector will take time to recover. Don't get into L&T, and if this sector recovers, then get into L&T. It would or only L&T and not other companies. Interesting. NBCC is an interesting company. I'm keeping a watch onto it, and let's see how the numbers would be. And if infrastructure and this real estate sector revive, L&T and NBCC would be the two companies I would like you to get into. Not at this point of time, unless you have a good 8-10 year time frame and you can take in a 50% loss or a 30% loss at least. Then you get into NBCC. Probably it will be a 50-60 rupees stock somewhere down the line after 4 5 years, but a risky trade it would be. What is your call on SBI card? I'm positive about SBI card. If you have not bought, get into it, but only below 600 levels and accumulate and hold for 4 5 years. Very positive about SBI cards. Once again, I want to remind you that the super chat feature is on. Kindly use super chat to ask questions or super stickers, and it will help me grow this channel even further. And it will help you eke out more questions, more answers from me in a more detailed manner. So use super chat, and thanks a lot for those who have used super chat and contributed to this channel. And you people can also go to the Patreon network and get exclusive articles, and you can ask me questions on Patreon at any point of time. Not wait for this interactive session. You can ask me questions day and night there, and I'll be definitely more than happy to help you out with your portfolios, with your stock queries, and with any queries with respect to market that you have anytime. So that's why you can join Patreon and ask me questions directly. United Spirits, avoid. That is an opinion. HCL Tech, better to buy into Infosys and TCS. That is my opinion. Okay, Circa Paints. I have to do research about the company and only then tell you. Good company, Honeywell Automation. So any decline in Honeywell Automations over the next 2 3 months, get into it and hold on to it for a longer period of time. These are the marquee stocks that I want you to get into because the stocks have fallen so much. BPCL is a good company. I think in these two, BPCL would be better off, but let the decline end and only then get into the stock. Avoid NCC, avoid any company related to infrastructure, capital goods, of direct finance. Again, avoid IndusInd Bank. What is good price to enter? I don't know simply. And I never give answers like I don't know, but here I'll do. The kind of volatility in the stock, I would just suggest to you that you avoid something like IndusInd Bank at the moment. Which sector will take leadership? Okay, recovering from the market and all. I would think consumers, consumer discretionary, FMCG. Second would be, in my opinion, the chemical sector, and third would be, and I don't know the ranking, but these three. So the chemical, the consumer discretionary, etc., and FMCG. And another sector that I'm looking at is autos with the kind of fall that we have had, but it will take a little bit of time. And also a niche sector in which there's Dixon and Amber and other companies. So look at a sector which are into electronic manufacturing or contract manufacturing for electronic products. They should do well. Tata Motors and Tata Motor Corporation. Hero Motocorp is a good company to buy whenever the auto sector revive. Avoid Tata Motors. Few good companies, Abhishek. So I've already done that. If you go through the this live session, you'll know it. But just to tell you, Info Edge, Bata, something like PNG Healthcare, something like an Infosys. Uh, if you want in mid caps, so a Whirlpool would be very good to look at. FL India would be very good to look at. So IRCTC and there are many more. सर इकोनॉमिक कोलैप्स कब होगा interesting. I hope that not that it does not happen. That's the first point. And I did give a smile because such kind of question just amazed me. I think we are under a very big economic stress at the moment. And if you talk about economic, अभी ऐसा लग रहा है कि 2.5% की ग्रोथ आएगी FY 20 में. और ऐसा लग रहा है 2.5-3% की ग्रोथ आएगी FY 21 में. तो एक तरीके से कोलैप्स तो अभी हो रहा है. अभी ये भी पता है कि रिकवरी कितनी होगी, कितने सेक्टर्स पे इसका असर होगा, कितने एसएमई और कितने मिड कैप सेक्टर सफर करेंगे. तो आगे 6 महीने में पता चल जाएगा कि ये कितना ज्यादा प्रेशर है. और मैं तो मानता हूँ यही एक इकोनॉमिक कोलैप्स है जो अभी हो रहा है. और अगर ऐसे ही चलता रहा तो आई थिंक इकोनॉमी रिवाइव होने में काफी टाइम लगेगा. From 2011, I have been hearing about the infrastructure capital goods sector to do well and renewable energy and so on and so forth, anything related to economy. लेकिन ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं है और अब और मुश्किल आ गई है इकोनॉमी में. तो एक तरीके से इकोनॉमिक कोलैप्स पे हम हैं अभी. जिस तरीके से लोगों की जॉब्स जा रही हैं और बाकी चीजें हो रही हैं. गवर्नमेंट अपनी तरफ से हर हर एक कोशिश कर रही है, हर एक सॉप्स दे रही है, लेकिन इसमें हमारा हाथ नहीं है. जिस तरह का कोलैप्स हुआ है अभी वायरस की वजह से या ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी में इतना स्लो डाउन आने की वजह से, अब तो वेट करना होगा कि इससे हम रिवाइव करते हैं कि नहीं. लेकिन मुझे लग रहा है कि अभी जो चल रहा है वो एक इकोनॉमिक कोलैप्स से कुछ कम नहीं. अवॉइड बंसाली इंजीनियरिंग, दैट्स माय ओपिनियन. Abbott is a good company to buy for long term, yes. So okay, guys. So this was the live chat that I wanted to have with you. And just before I go, I want to tell you that buy into companies which you are sure about. Don't go by my picks and everything else. ये मैं अपने असेसमेंट से बताता हूँ. मेरी अलग रिस्क प्रोफाइल रहती है, लेकिन आपको एक आइडिया देने के लिए बताता हूँ. बट द स्टैंडर्ड डिस्क्लेमर अप्लाइज that you take your decision on your behalf and do your own analysis before doing or buying into anything. और दूसरी बात यह है कि बाय इनटू एट दीज कंपनीज इन अ स्टैगर्ड मैनर. अभी अगले 6 महीने में काफी मूव्स अप एंड डाउन होंगे बिफोर मार्केट मेक्स अ बॉटम. हो सकता है 7500 पे ही बॉटम बना हो, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है 6500 6600 तक मार्केट जा सकता है. Thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for contributing through Patreon and this super chat feature. And hopefully, see you in a couple of days' time. I'll try to be again online when I get time in 2 or 3 days' time. Thank you.